I think I've got everything set right. I think we are live. Let me fix up my screen here. Let me know if it looks like everything's good on my end. Pretty sure we're okay. Let's see. Oh, I didn't pull up my reference photos. I'll do that while I wait to hear if every audio and everything is good. I'm late. And this is actually my reason, because I was feeding my fish. At least it wasn't that my fish ate my homework. Let's see. Where are my reference photos for dolphins? I'm just going to sit here and hack. Don't mind me. Let's see. You are helpful. We'll pull you up. We'll pull you up. I had another. Let's put this over here. I am not as ready to go as I thought I was. I'm like, I have time to feed the fish. No, I didn't. Okay. Is that good enough? I think that's good enough. I don't even know where the photo was for the third dolphin. I should probably find that. There's the ray. Did I just make that dolphin up? It's entirely possible. I just drew a random dolphin without a reference photo. That is one of few subjects I don't have to have a reference photo for, so it's possible, I guess. Although, a little odd. Okay, well, whatever. We're good. Think I've got good enough reference photos for now. There we go. Okay, good audio. Everything is good. Let's see. Paul said, how do you remedy a dent or dimple on a canvas surface? You spray the back of it with water and then take a hairdryer and mist it, and it should come right back into place. It's actually a very easy fix. There we go. There are our layers. We're going to be working on the top layer. So right now he's in front of the other dolphin. He's going to be behind it once he's finished. I just have him pulled up so I can paint him easier. Okay, so before I start on the, oh, you guys can't even see it anyway. Hold on. Let's make it so you can see it. Act like I know how to do my job. There we go. Before we get started, if you are new to these live streams and you're looking for just a straight tutorial, not me rambling about feeding fish or whatever it is I'm going to ramble about, it could be anything, everything but politics, basically. So if that is what you're looking for, Patreon is going to be a better fit for you. For as little as $4 a month, you get access to all of my longer tutorials. They're just the straight, demonstration lesson, me talking about what we're doing. That way, it's not this. They're just actual lessons. And there are over 300 available immediately when you sign up. That's insane. I don't know if people realize what a deal that is, because if I sold those lessons individually, just like, oh, I want to draw the wolf in charcoal or whatever medium it is you're interested in, those would be $20 to $60 a piece, depending on the length, because some of them are really long. So that $4 a month and you get all 300, it's kind of insane. But it works because if enough people are signed up, I can afford to keep offering it at that price, which makes it all work. Plus, there's some other cool bonuses, some other tiers with different rewards. So anyway, check that out. Patreon.com/Lachri. Link is in the video description. And you can also do Subscribestar. The problem with Subscribestar I'm having right now is that they do not give me people's addresses. So when it's making it very hard for me to get postcards out, and I have to wait for people to respond back, and no one's responding back. So I don't know if people are just not getting the message. If you are following me on Subscribestar, if you are a $9 member, you should be getting a postcard. You probably, unless you're Nick. Nick is the only one that I have the address to. No one else has gotten back to me on addresses. So, it's definitely the only negative to Subscribestar I'm having is that aspect. So I haven't added the additional tiers because I don't know how to get stuff to people. So we have to figure that one out. But anyway, so moving on, this is we chat about everything, we hang out, and it's a chance. If you've ever emailed me, the chances of me getting back to you, super small. Just time is an issue. Like, it's a serious issue. So I'm exhausted all the time. I look at the email and I'm like, yeah, I'll get to that later. And then I'm exhausted and my brain wipes it out, gone. So anyway, oops, let's turn this off. I was watching a Reef Beef podcast, which was pretty cool, but it was also holding my phone awake. So let's go ahead and put that to sleep. So there we go. There is the whole spiel. So let's see. And H. Chicky said, I'm getting on good. I know, I always see yours. I like it. Your name stands out to me. Let's see. So now we draw. Let's go ahead and start working on some more definite highlights. And actually, even the guy up front I'm seeing where I really want to pull some more major highlights out on him. So we'll come back to that. But let's go ahead and do some on this guy for now. Oh, crap. That was one of the things I wanted to change was my chair. I'll try to be good today and remember not to sit twisted because that's what seems to be screwing up my back. I need to bring my little twisty guy in here. But anyway, let's move on. What am I doing? Painting. Right. Highlights. I want to go back down to the middle stage or base stage. What is on that stage? Shadows. Okay, I can do highlights on that too. So I want to pull out some more definite. Actually, I want it to be kind of close to the pink peach in the background, maybe a little lighter. And let's choose a pen over here. And what am I doing? That guy should work. I think I'll do oh, I know what I want to do to make this really stand out. It's something, you know, I had looked at this earlier and I was like, these dolphins are missing something. I don't have enough contrast. So the thing that I'm usually telling you guys, work on your contrast, I'm completely missing that on these guys. So that's what I'm going to do. Oh, whoa, not that much. Too much contrast. That is not okay. Let's drop that opacity way down. There's contrast and then there's what I just did, which no. Okay. And just a reminder, if you are asking a question or have like something that you want me to respond to, make sure to do the @Lachri fine art because I won't always, like I usually won't see your message otherwise. Keep kicking my trash can. Why is that even pulled out? I'm going to guess one of the greyhounds was going through it again. It's empty this time, so they didn't get far. You'll see tomorrow, the end of tomorrow's video shows, well, kind of briefly mentions Gibson's little, I'm going to eat all the dryer sheets. Jerk, and then puke them up. I thought we were over that stage with him. He used to do that a lot when he was younger, or not young, I mean, I guess younger, a year ago, when we first got him, and he hasn't been, so I haven't been as careful making sure that my closet door is closed, because that's what has the trash can that has dryer sheets in it. Like, when I put laundry away, they just always end up in there. Yeah, he's been eating them again. I found that out when he puked them up on the floor. Hi, Michael from Nigeria. It's 2 a.m. over there. Wow, you are up late. Elsie, you are far away from here. That's always, I don't think I will ever get over the, like, how cool it is that we get to talk to people all over the world this easily. That is so awesome. Oops. Michael says, I'm so excited about this live stream. Yay! So let's see. We'll get that highlight in there. I actually want it to be even more kind of that peach color. Yeah, that's pretty much right about there. Let's pull this around the edges. I really want to, yes. And then I'm going to pull some more definite white, right? A little bit smaller and in the middle. Like really make that stand out. And then I'll do the highlights, of course, over on top. And I'm also going to need to do some down here. Whoops, not that one. That one. Right along the edges of those white highlights, we'll pull those peach colors so we get some of that reflection of the sky into the dolphin. This is one of the things, I mean, we want to get that high contrast anyway, but also using the same colors I used in the sky, this is going to help him to feel like he's a part of the scene and not just cut out from something else. Nick said, does it leave a lovely fresh scent? Like garlic, because, and this is the grossest part, we had salmon the night before, my husband barbecued it, and we always give the dogs the salmon skin once it's cooked. But once it's all burnt and crispy. So they love it. But it was really like whatever seasoning Matt used had a lot of garlic on it. And that is the horribleness of the smell that Gibson brought up the next morning. Like, and it wasn't from the salmon. That's why this is the gross thing with dogs. Like you're always trying to figure out what they ate. So you know, okay, is this something to panic about that he puked up? This is something he can't have again. No, I had to dig through it. It was in a baggie, so I didn't have to touch anything, but it's still gross. You get used to the stuff I used to work at an animal hospital, so I've had to look through some gross stuff. But yeah, there were dryer sheets in it. That was the problem. I'm like, you jerk. Why are you doing that? Uh-oh, Sushi's having a tantrum. He may have to take a nap while I live stream because that's going to be not okay. Hold on. Let me message my husband. Sushi is normally allowed out of his cage when no one's in the room. Until this week when he decided he would eat the blinds. So now and my husband's normally in there, but he's working right now for, Sushi will get to come out in an hour. But yeah, he's been having a tantrum and making sure that everyone knows he's my husband's Indian ringneck. Making sure that he is not pleased about not being allowed to eat the blinds anymore. Yeah, it could have been worse. He could have eaten the windowsill. That would have been a nightmare. That's not an easy fix. So yeah, he's making sure we know he is unhappy about. He has a huge cage, but it doesn't matter. Can't eat the blinds in his huge cage. I also found out this week, which I was watching my husband do this more, when Sushi starts screaming when Matt's in there and having a tantrum, Matt gives them, we call them cracked berries. It's a Nutriberry. It's like crack for birds, essentially, the way they behave with it. And he's been giving him, when Sushi screams, Matt gives him a treat. And I'm like, you are training him to scream to get what he wants. You're making it worse. And Matt's like, yeah, whatever. Okay. Okay. So that gets that highlight down a lot better. Although I may have to, let's pull some of it up so it's not that much. Let's pull the eraser out. We're going to go really big on that. Maybe not that big. Oh, maybe I should be on the right color or layer. There we go. It's a little bit too solid for what I'm looking for here, so we'll just break that up a little bit with the eraser. Pull it out. And when I do the lines on top, that should work. Okay, so now back to the pen. Paul said, or Drawtober, Painttober. What? Oh, would you partake in Inktober? There's no way I have time. I mean, it's fun, I think, more for hobbyists, or it can work for YouTubers too, because it gives you content if you don't have other stuff. But there's no way I can do that and get Patreon done and get YouTube videos done. Like, there's just no possible way. I already have no time, so I don't have time to do the work I need to do. I sure as heck don't have the time to do that. As fun as those look, it's just not in my realm of possibilities. I think they're cool. Like, I'm not opposed to them. It's just not for me. These are all too, actually, do I want you instead? Nope, I do want you. Yeah, that's why you don't ever see me do those. As fun as they look, they're just not practical. I mean, it's not something I can sell. It's not something like, I need to get ready right now for Aquashella is at the end of October. So I've got a month. I still have to have prints made. I need to have a sign made. I have a lot of stuff I need to get done, which means this week I'll be doing a lot of that. I need to get 1 week ahead on artwork, so I have a lesson for Patreon and videos ready after the week I'm at Aquashella. So it's no, there is no time. It's one of those things. I love the idea, but no, especially not in October. Let's see. Cat's Art Pick said, I did a Phoenix with my polychromos pencils. If you get a chance, take a look of it on the MeWe group. Oh, cool. Paul said, I've asked the question every time, same question every time October comes. Oh, I know. Everyone always asks too. And it's like, it's such a cool concept. I love the idea. It's just, as that's my job already. So it's kind of like going to a mechanic and being like, hey, are you going to partake in Rebuild an Engine Month? And they're like, that's what I do every day, all day. Like, I don't know how that's going to work in. Let's do a Lisa groupie Inktober. That would be awesome. We post on the fan page. That would be so fun. Yes, please. I would love that. That's funny. No, I love the idea. I was thinking about that, coming up with my own almost prompt art lesson book, or like weird surreal idea book, like just a quick, something you could just download on Amazon. Maybe something free you get when you sign up, or maybe it could be Patreon thing. I don't know. Maybe it would be paid for like $3. I don't know, but some kind of an art prompt, like 365-day art prompt for those who just cannot come up with ideas. Like, here's an art prompt. I want to think of an interesting way to make that happen, but I thought that might be kind of a fun thing to have. Oops, my eraser is too big now. Way too big. Let's see. Whoops. Mildred said, art is your job. Doing Inktober would be like asking someone who already bikes to work to participate in bike to work day. Yes, exactly. You and I pretty much made the same point there. Eo said, it's pumpkin spice season. I know, that's what I'm drinking right now. Iced pumpkin spice. I drink it all year round though, so it's not that different for me, but at least now I feel like I'm doing it in the right season. I even wore a long sleeve shirt so I could pretend it's fall, but it's Texas, so it's actually 90 degrees out right now. Let's see. Paul said, and Halloween is upon us, favorite occasion of the year. I love the pumpkins. I'm so, like, I'm always torn on fall because I love pumpkins. I love Halloween. I love all of that, but then winter is right there and I hate it passionately. So I really like spring is my favorite because it's like, then I've got summer to come. Spring and summer are my favorites. I'd love fall if it didn't mean winter was following behind. And I live in Texas. It's not like we have real winters. Well, except for last winter, we had our, let's pretend we're a state that actually has winters, and your state isn't ready for this. But you guys keep your northern weather up there. We can't handle it. So yeah, oops, that is actually not going to work. I need to move him down. I can't see. Actually, I'll probably adjust that when I move him later. Yeah, that's the only thing that kind of, yeah, I'm not a fan of fall just because of that, but I love fall, so I don't know. Let's see, Simon said, your opinion on Inktober scandal. I have no idea what it is. I don't know. I'm not usually super interested in drama and things. I find I enjoy life better without it as much as possible. Like, I keep up to date with politics. That's as much drama as I think I can handle. Talk about ridiculousness. So it's like, I don't want, like, I don't even know what it is. Yeah, I didn't even know. I thought that somebody last year said there was some sort of scandal. Wasn't it like some maker was like, no, I own the concept of Inktober, and I don't know. I don't even know how that would work out. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to stay in my happy world. If I know nothing, I don't really know, don't really care. Which is funny because you know how I like to rant, but I don't know. Let's see. Eo said, winter sucks, eggs up here. Yeah, I don't know how you guys in the north. The only thing that you in the north have is that it's pretty. Like, the snow is at least pretty. Here, like, Texas is just brown and cold. Everything's just dormant, obviously, but there's no pretty snow on top, which is good because snow we can't handle, but it's also, our winters are very short. That's a huge bonus. Oh my gosh, my nose will not stop itching tonight. So, yeah, that is the only thing we've got on that. And it's funny, I like our weather here overall more than California, with the exception, California, we cooled down, and I'm from Southern California. It cools down at night. It does not cool down at night here. It stays, you're still in the 80s most night. Like, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't cool off. So that's kind of a negative, but California winters there's no winter. Like, your grass is usually still green. There's still green everywhere. Here, I like the thunderstorms here better, except I don't like tornadoes. I don't like how many times lightning hits people's houses. That's a bit of an issue. What was the other thing that my brain shut down again? Oh, our winters are short. So that is a bonus here. We have very, very, you'll have a week or two where it's really cold, and then you'll get a break where it's in the 70s again. And then it'll be really cold for a week, and then in the 70s again. So you get these breaks, so it's not so miserably cold the whole time, usually. There have been a couple of years since we've lived here that's not been the case, but usually that is. Theo said, I just hope you guys don't get a snowstorm. Yeah, you and me both. Thank God I had the power generators last time. But then there were this one guy I know, he is in my area. Mark, he has an amazing tank, and his power generators went out. He's got a huge tank. That's a big deal. He was able to find some from people. But it's like, man, even if you have the power generator, it's not a guarantee. I mean, it's better than not, but it's definitely a concern. It wouldn't have bothered me if I didn't have the reef tank. And then last year, I only had the little one. So this year will be worse because I've got both tanks to keep going. I did get a better generator. It's, what is the one, I guess the one I had is considered dirty energy. It pulsed really bad. And so it's bad for like delicate electronics. Whereas the big one is, or because I have delicate electronics with the type of pumps, the C-shape pumps that are on it, they're all Wi-Fi, fancy, I don't know, whatever. So with that, I had to get another, what are they called? It's a digital converter generator, something, I don't know, it costs more. It was a few $100s more, but I was like, I definitely, it was a good learning point last year to see how realistic it is that we would need a generator here. So I went ahead and ordered that. I'm like, I'm not even messing with that. I'm going to have that on hand now. Like I said, I had my generator ready before. It was really frustrating last year, though, when we had the power outages to see how many people weren't prepared. So how many people keep these super expensive reef tanks, like way more expensive than mine, and didn't have a generator. And it's like, they would say, well, we don't normally have storms like this. No, but we have power outages all the time because of tornadoes and thunderstorms. And I'm like, why? I don't get that. So it's not that it's a guarantee everything's going to go well for you, but do the bare minimum there. So it was really surprising how many people, what really got me, this is back when I used Facebook. Screw that place. But anyway, there was one guy who he said he had $20,000 in fish and coral that he was losing. He did not have a generator. And people are like, why don't you have a generator? You have $20,000 in fish and coral. How do you not have a power generator? And for those of you going, there's no way he had that yet. No, it actually is not unlikely in reef caping, especially if he got like small frags and had grown them out. So they would be worth more at that point. But anyway, he was telling people off saying, I hope all of you with your generators that everything dies. And you're just going, what? This guy was insane. It was crazy. I'm like, I just don't understand how you have a reef tank and not a generator. So, but yeah, no, the generator was its own pain in the butt. So it's like, even though I had it, getting gas every day was a challenge because the trucks that bring in the gas, they weren't able to get through. Roads were closed. So most of these gas stations were out of gas. So it sucked. I feel like I should include donkey anatomy in there, but I don't think that's an appropriate thing to say. Like for some reason, when I say it sucked, that wants to follow. Whatever. Let's see. Where were we? Linda said, my sister sent me pictures of the Moab National Park in text, 2 of the pictures stacked on top of each other. And I was, oh my goodness, that would make a great surreal painting. That's cool. I've seen that. That gives you good ideas. I know what you're talking about. I've seen stuff like that. Paul said, hoping by December we see an end to this pandemic. Yeah, that's not happening. I can't complete that statement. So we'll move on. Moody Roan said, the snow is not pretty when it's a foot or 2 tall and you have to shovel a path to the barn to feed horses, or when shoveling the driveway and you're the only one who does it. Okay, you win 100%. I don't think I could handle that because it's cold. Like even when we had to set up that generator, it was so cold outside. So going out and filling it with gas and just doing anything, you had to wear gloves. It was, I don't know how you guys deal with it. I keep saying I want to move to Montana, and then I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think that's a thing that is in my future ever. I think I'll stay here. Karina said, good morning, Lisa, Clark, Nick, and everyone else. It's 9:25 a.m. here. Wonderful spring morning. Oh, you must be in Australia. Life is wonderful. Love how this piece is turning out. Thank you. Whoops. Just scrolling. Don't mind me. Where are we? Just a reminder, if you have any like comment you need me to or want me to respond to or notice, make sure to do the @Lachri Fine Art. So it'll highlight my name in orange so that I'm able to easily see you're talking to me and not to each other. So if I'm ignoring you, that I just didn't see it. So I just noticed I missed that. Mr. Mark said, hi, I just subscribed. Thank you. Welcome. Ellen said it's 6:55 a.m. here. You are up too early. Why are you awake? I would not be awake. That is a big fluffy note for me. Okay, I'm going to smudge these out just a bit. Oh, not that tool. I should probably choose the right tool. And we'll just enlarge that. Actually, do it this way. Just kind of blur these because what I'll do is come in between and define them better with a brighter white. So this gives it more of that underwater feel. Little wiggly. Still follows those main lines, but it also breaks it up a bit. Okay. Really liking how he's coming out. I'm liking him better than the other one. I have to go back and this peach is going to have to be pulled into the other one. Really like that. Okay, let's go on top of that now. Oops, that's the wrong tool. Paintbrush. There we go. And I'll bump the opacity up a bit. Let's see if it's too much. Now this should work. Yeah, maybe a little bit. Let's make that a little larger. What I'm going to do is hit mainly in a lot of these areas where these lines are connecting. Just on a few spots where it's really shiny. We'll get some variation in the size, make some a little bit thicker. I knew I was really tired last week. I must have been extra tired because I'm looking at that other one going, I did a really half done job. Try not to swear. That is not my normal dolphin. I've got some work to do to fix him up. I think if you guys remember, last week I was struggling. I was so tired. And I think that the reason my husband had gotten me these, I love snickerdoodles, but I also don't, because the whole calorie diet, all that stuff. So he had picked up some stuff for himself. He's doing keto, and they were snickerdoodles, but they had stevia in it, and I know I can't do that. It was stevia or xylitol. I react the same to both. It makes me super tired, and it takes me a bit to get over it. And I was like, oh no, it'll be fine. I can have a little bit. It shouldn't, as long as I don't have it every day, it should be fine. No, I'm pretty sure that's why I was so tired last week. Unless I had a little bit of a bug of something, it was miserable to be awake. Last week, during the live stream, I was really having a hard time. I feel a lot better today, though. I actually had a really good nap today, so that helped. Did I even get a nap last week? I don't remember. Although I'm a bit annoyed. I was trying to stay up because I have an order from Algae Barn I got some seraph snails and some just some bacteria products for the tank. But the seraph snails, I paid extra to have them 2-day to me. FedEx screwed up again. They did this with my Josh's Frogs order a couple of weeks ago. You guys may remember me complaining about that. It got stuck in their FedEx hub in Tennessee. So those snails are still, I ordered from them because they're captive bred, so they'll be more likely to survive. They'll have a higher success rate with those, or in theory they should. And nope, they are going to be in shipping for an extra day. Algae Barn's really good about handling if stuff doesn't go right, but I need to contact them because I want to be, you can refund me for that shipping because I paid extra for that and it did not happen. Because I know with FedEx, if they don't meet their deadline when you do 2-day, they'll refund them if they're contacted. So good, you guys can then refund me that money. But that annoys me. It's not Algae Barn's problem. I don't know what's going on with FedEx. But it's anything that goes through their Tennessee hub seems to be the problem. I'm also kind of like, why did it even go through Tennessee? Because it started out in, I think, Colorado. Texas is closer to Colorado than it is to Tennessee. I don't even know why you would send something. Weird things they do. Okay, let's see. Paul said, my concept of time has veered off since March 2020. 2022 is upon us, and it feels like I haven't lived 2021. Yeah, it's been it's weird. It's funny because I was I kind of went through a thing where I was going to stop signing or adding the date to my artwork. My reasoning for that is when it actually hit me when I was giving a Christmas gift to somebody that I had a family member that I had to give gifts to I don't have to now, but I had to give gifts to every year. I can't stand this woman at all. She lies about everything nonstop. One of those people you're like, you're just kind of a horrible human. The stuff she's lied about, the stuff she's done to others just to get herself out of trouble. She's just one of those. So, distant family member. I would always give her just a painting that I did in a live stream or whatever, just a quick little one. It's not super valuable or whatever. And I realized a lot of the stuff I was doing was from my nose will not stop itching, allergies. That is the one good thing about winter. Anyway, it's driving me bad inside. I realized I was giving her something from 5 years ago, and I'm I know her. She's going to see that and think I'm giving her a lesser than item. I am, but I also am maybe I should, that may be something that people who buy a painting would hesitate for, going, well, this painting's 5 years old. Why didn't somebody else buy it yet? Thinking the psychological aspect of it feel like it's not of as valued, especially in cases like I have a painting on my wall from 2017. It's the deer that's got the snowy background, which is funny because I hate winter, but I love this painting. And he's got the little robins on his antlers. So, or her antler. No, that's a boy. I painted that it's anyway. Okay. So, where was I going with that? Oh, so 2017, it's not been for sale because it's mine. Like I'm currently displaying it. And at some point I'll switch that out for another painting, in which case this one would be available for sale. So it's not that it's not of value or no one wanted it, it's that I didn't make it available. So that I'm like, maybe that year should just come off. But then when everything started in 2020, I was like, no, this is a time in history that is kind of unique. I'm keeping the date on that because it's like, this is Zombieland time period of paintings. So yeah, I'm currently still signing with the year, the date on it, but I may change that when everything calms down because it's not like, I don't know. I think this is going to be something in history that they talk about 100 years later, all the stuff they did wrong, all the stuff they did right, what they would change, what like life was like. Like, I think it's going to be one of those things like we hear about the Spanish flu and we still talk about that today. And I suspect obviously this will be a situation like that is memorable. So yeah, that was my thought process on a random, uninteresting story. Karina said, generators are a must here with all the cyclones we get. We have a power outage nearly every year. How long do your power outages last for? Let's see. Paul said, I'm kind of excited with Hawkeye, but kind of not because I never liked the character. So I'm so over. That company just makes crap movies now. I'm just over it. Also, didn't you ask me if I had watched the Superman and Lois show? I think it was you who was asking me that. We watched it. We have 2 episodes left, and it started out so good. Like, I really liked it. I thought that everything from special effects, I liked the actors, I liked the storyline, I liked the concept, I liked so much about it. And then you can tell they changed writers because it went back to your typical CW teenage girl wrote this crap. And yeah, I'm like, I don't even want to finish it. It's just stupid now. Why does CW always ruin it? Everything starts out so good, and you're all excited, and then they switch writers. They're like, okay, we're going to put our good writers on something new, and we're going to have a teenage girl finish writing this. Yeah, it's really annoying. Moody Run said, it's a trade-off, I guess. You get the 100-degree temperatures where we're in Ohio, where we in Ohio, I'm not reading that right. Where we in Ohio really don't, but we get the snow. I guess I'd rather shovel than sweat. See, I don't mind the hot. I go on walks. I'll walk at night or once the sun goes down because the ground would burn the dog's feet. They can't go out. Like, you're not going on a noontime walk with the dogs. But besides that, I like the heat. So that may be part of why, no, I don't like that. Undo. That may be part of why I'm good with our weather here. Fan of the heat, not of the cold. I am such a big baby when it comes to cold. I mean, even here when it's 100 degrees out, I still bring a sweater with me everywhere because if we go into like Chipotle or whatever to eat, I'm going to freeze. I'm always cold. So there's that. Karina said, I'm selling up and moving into a caravan to go off-grid for a few years. For this reason, I'm packing away my paints and going to pencil. So I'm watching as much as I can on all pencil papers and everything to get better with them. Nice. That sounds fun. I hope you post photos and videos of that. Paul said, maybe you shouldn't talk about her on this stream. She might be tuning in. At this point, I don't even care if she did. She wouldn't know I was talking about her. Irrelevant in my life. Let's go with that. Alana said, waves hello. Hi, Alana. Life has been crazy. Just popping in to say hi. This painting is gorgeous. Thank you. Need to catch up and figure out how to go digital. There's some definite benefits for sure. Let's see. Paul said, I bet I owe Elsa for teaching me not to be bothered with the cold. Nick said the heat can be a bit uncomfortable at times. Yeah, but cold actually hurts. Yes. Yes. Michael said FedEx moved to Memphis, Tennessee. Memphis was chosen because of its central location within the U.S. and because Memphis International Airport was rarely closed due to bad weather. Oh, well, too bad they don't know how to do their job yet. It's a little frustrating when you have live critters coming through the mail. Especially when I'm like, I could have just gotten these snails from my local fish store. The reason I didn't is because they would have a better chance of living a longer life because they're captive bred. and also to make sure that I paid extra to have quicker shipping. But that's what they're really, this is the second time in a row within 2 weeks that they did this. And they did this too with the other, couple weeks ago when they mine were just crickets, so it was no big deal. Well, someone had ordered from Josh's Frogs and theirs were shipped out the same day. Same thing, got stuck overnight in Memphis. They ordered red-eye tree frogs and they were stuck an extra day, and the frogs were fine. Well, the frogs were fine, but being that they came from Josh's, they were already showing symptoms of nematodes, possibly flagellates. So those frogs were going to die anyway if the owner doesn't get them in. I don't know what ended up happening with that, but they definitely, and I don't, not to bash Josh's Frogs, I like them, but they're not testing their frogs for parasites apparently, because they're getting through and too many people are having happen what I had. You remember when I got started with red-eye tree frogs, I went through them because they captive breed them themselves. So chances of parasites should have been very low. Well, it turns out that's not the case with red-eye tree frogs. They're just super sensitive to it. And so when I got mine, I lost 2 within a month. The first one within a couple weeks. So they are not testing or being, I don't know, there's a lack of being responsible in my opinion. And I think part of it, people don't realize how common parasites are with them. And it's weird because like with fish, everyone knows there are parasites in fish. The only people who kind of like downplay that I think are local fish stores. But like anyone who keeps fish knows, quarantine that stuff because it will, well, heck, even I got quarantine fish and still ended up with flukes. Okay, my real grandma's out. He was hiding earlier for some reason. But anyway, so with the red-eye tree frogs, all of the breeders, like on the online and stuff, oh, my frogs are clean, but they don't run fecal tests. So they don't know if they're clean. They're just not showing symptoms yet. And so Josh's Frogs, I think, is one of those. They are not testing. I'm just doing little dots to make it really stand out here. They're not testing that. And so it was kind of interesting because her frogs, so they would have been under more stress having an extra day in shipping, and they made it, except the parasites, because the frog system would have been weakened from the stress of having an extra day in shipping. Yeah, that really sucks. And I know people are like, oh my gosh, you shouldn't ship animals. It normally is fine, but something, I don't know what's going on with FedEx. I mean, I know a lot of people are having different problems with stuff, but man, that is not okay. And especially given they're charging full price. So it's like, I will definitely be making a big deal out of that tomorrow. I'll contact Algae Barn and make them refund me so that then they can make, FedEx refund them. I think the only thing that'll make them fix that is a dip in their wallet. FedEx, not Algae Barn. Like I said, it's not Algae Barn's fault there. Let's see. Michael said, is your dog there? They're in the other room with my husband. They're not in here. Clark Finder said, you didn't bring the swivel chair in from the studio. How's the back today? It's fine right now. I kind of have it sitting in the middle, like, so hopefully it's not too bad. I forgot to bring the other chair. I need to try it because if it works, I want to put one permanently in here. But I totally forgot today. Karina said, I will post the pics, Lisa. Dreamed of doing a YouTube story, but I might just be too busy living, never remember to film things. I'm getting better about that. I have absolutely had that problem with, like Aquashell is a good example. I go to this event, I'm all excited, I'm going to get all this video footage, and you get so busy, you just forget to pull out the camera. So I'm making a point, like when I go places, I did it, you'll see it in the end of tomorrow's video. One of the employees helped me at Aqua Studios to shoot this little skit, and I need to see if he'll be in more of my videos. Like, oh my gosh, his acting skills are amazing, because he's actually like a really good customer service guy. So for him to pretend what he did, and that you'll see in the video tomorrow, it's really short, but I'm like, that was amazing. But anyway, where was I going with? Oh, I'm making myself like pull out my phone, just record on your phone. It doesn't have to be my good cameras because I never bring those with me. So I've started just making myself stop being lazy, pull out the cell phone, and the cell phones do a good job now. So I don't have any excuse not to start getting some footage. I learned that my friend George, you guys saw the video, Coralfish 12G. He's the one who came and set up the reef tank for me. I did the oil painting of him. He's one of the Aquashell guys. When I saw how he filmed when he was here, it was really cool to see. Because he actually is like filming. That is his like more so than me. I'm an artist who happens to film stuff. He is like a what would you call it? Not a film director, but yeah. I mean, that's like his thing. And so watching, I mean, he had a GoPro hooked up on my ceiling fan while he set this up. He had cameras all over the place. And watching what he filmed and how he edited them down, I'm like, the trick seems to be you just pull that camera out and you shoot everything and you just take little pieces. And I learned a lot watching how he did that. It was really cool. Let's see. Michael said, just wait, the U.S. Post Office will now charge you more to ship packages and the delay delivery by an extra day or two. Customer service. Oh, U.S. Post Office has always been crap. That's a whole other argument. And the big problem I have with the U.S. Post Office, who do you complain to? You can't. It's like complaining at the DMV. You can't. They don't care. There's no, like, at least with FedEx or with UPS, you call and talk to somebody, their customer service is much better. But when you deal with like DMV or post office, they don't care. So this is one of the things that's the problem with post office. Algae barm, it's about box about this big, and it says all over it, live animals. So I get my like pods or my phytoplankton for the tank. It says live animals this side up. Do not place in a parcel locker. Deliver directly to the front door. My idiot post office, I don't even want to say idiot. I'm going to go with lazy. He just keeps throwing them in the postal thing box. So that gets up into the hundreds of degrees. If I don't know to be out, and it's not near me, like I have to walk around the corner. It's not like I can keep an eye on and know when they're going to deliver. So that's been an ongoing problem with them. And who do you complain to? They don't care. There's no one care. If I contacted and was like, hey, UPS is not putting my package where it should go, they'll do something about it. I'm not saying they're perfect, but at least there's a level of customer service there that you're not going to get with the post office. So yeah, it's its own issue. I don't know what the solution is. Paul said, favorite courier, and would you give tips in shipping stuff and hacks? Okay, so when I ship, I go with UPS. Well, it depends. So like when I ship do I have any over here? I don't know. When I ship the giveaways, they're just an 8x10. It's in an envelope. There's no like monetary value really because it's just a giveaway product. That I'll just go through UPS or USPS, sorry, because it's cheaper and it's a giveaway. I can't afford to be spending $20 to $30 to ship with UPS. UPS is more expensive, but I trust them more with my paintings. And then if I do a guarantee, the problem with their guarantee, if they don't box it themselves, which is way expensive, if they don't box the painting themselves, they're really not going to get to honor the guarantee unless they just straight out lose the package. So that's a bit of an issue. You think, oh, like, okay, I paid an extra $20 for a $500 guarantee on this thing. They trash that box and you packed it. They're going to say you just didn't pack it well. So that's a negative. But overall, I've had the best results with UPS on delivering stuff to me. And I've had moments where FedEx did really good and then moments where they didn't. But like if I'm shipping a painting, it's going to be UPS pretty much every time. I don't ship with FedEx. It's ridiculously priced. So I'm definitely more of a UPS person, and they're not perfect. And I have had issues with them. Like I had one issue. This was partially my fart. It's partially my fart. I'm grown up. I think that's funny. Or a 12-year-old boy. I will blame myself on this. 50-50. So I went to deliver a painting and it was someone I had delivered before, but she had moved. And so I handed the guy the address, the new address. The guy didn't take that. He took her name, went through my account and chose her previous address. We didn't find that out until she goes to check shipping and she's like, that's not my address anymore. I'm like, what? I handed him the current address. So they claimed, but they couldn't show me proof. So I don't actually think they did. And if they didn't, then this is 100% on him. I check everything now. But he took that address and like I said, he sent it to the wrong one. So I contacted them while it was still in shipping. I'm like, you need to redirect this. Your people screwed this up. Oh, we can't do that. What do you mean you can't do that? It hasn't gotten there yet. Put a stop on it and send it to the place it was supposed to go. Best we can do is wait till it's delivered to that address and hope that person will send it back to us and then we can send it out. Oh, and I have to pay more in shipping for their error. So I contacted him and I talked to the manager, the store manager. So I guess it's individuals own the like UPS stores. This guy was a jerk. Giant donkey body parts. So he claimed that I signed the address, that I initialed it. And I said, show me. He never did. He couldn't. Because I don't think it happened. I think his employee screwed that up too, because they're supposed to have you initial that it was the correct address. And he couldn't provide, he insisted he had it, but he wouldn't show it to me. And I'm like, because you don't have it. So we went 50-50. I paid half the shipping. And luckily the person who lived there did give it back. But I paid half the shipping cost and so I went over his head. Because he wasn't helping me, I contacted the main thing and I reported him and what they did. And so he was even ruder to me after that because the owners of the bigger, whoever owns the thing, it was a disaster. Luckily it turned out okay, but I had to pay more in shipping, which was his employee. I will take some credit in that now I know don't trust their employees to actually use the address you hand them. So they have a thing now you initial, it's like on the little machine. So like every time it happens, it's not like a little, they're not printing, at least for me lately, they've not been printing it out. I don't know if that varies by store. It's like on the thing, you can double check the address, and I double check everything now. But I've had that happen. It only took the one time of an employee to screw that up to learn that lesson. But yeah, UPS is normally who I go with. But my shipping tips would be, when you pack something, you need to pack that so that, like, if you were to hand this box, like I did a painting, I boxed it up, can I hand this to a toddler to hang out with for a week? You know that toddler is going to use it as a table. He's going to use it to stand on. He's going to toss it across the room. If it can make it through the toddler for a week, your painting should be fine. If it can't, if the toddler stands on it and it crushes inwards, you did not pack that well enough. So that's kind of my overall, like, how I judge whether or not it will get there well. Let's see. Michael said, my art medium is graphite, but whenever I'm drawing, it's not looking as realistic as I want it to. Any advice? Yeah, work slower. You're working too fast. Almost every time, the problem is you're going too fast, because you can do stuff in graphite fast. Break it down, work one little square inch at a time, really focus on that reference photo, spend more time looking at your reference photo than you do your artwork. Slow down. So when I started doing graphite work, they were like looser sketches. I'd spend about 45 minutes. I charged $50 for pet portraits. And then I wanted it to look more realistic. So what I did is my next one, once I hit that point, like I need to take this to the next level, I said, instead of 45 minutes, I'm going to spend 8 hours on one piece. I think I knew I could do it. Like I had the faith in myself I could do better. But yeah, and that's what made the difference for me, is spending 8 hours instead of 45 minutes. So whatever amount of time you're spending now, times that by like 10. That would be my biggest advice for you. Slow down. Karina said, I will have to try that. Thank you. Thank you. Got to remember to keep my phone on me. Let's see. Karina said, there's a thing about USA Post. They've got to be the dearest in the world, but I'm sure their workers don't get paid well, so I can't understand why they charge so much. Their workers get paid decent. It's a government job. They lately other places have been paying more, but no, most of the time, if you could get in with the post office, it was good pay. I don't know if other areas it weren't, but I had friends who were like the delivery men. They made good money. So, and it's a government job, so you're pretty set if you get in with that, and you stay long term. Let's see. Michael said, what paper type is better when working on graphite? I'm not as picky with graphite. Usually I like a hot press watercolor paper is my favorite, but there are a lot of mixed media papers that are kind of smooth that work well. I don't like Bristol vellum that's just too smooth. So, but a hot press watercolor paper is typically my go-to, but I'm not as picky with graphite paper as I am with like colored pencil. Clark Feiner said, every box I get from FedEx looks like they played soccer football with it from the sender to our door. I cringe and cross my fingers every time I see FedEx picked up a package for me. I went through a period where I was having really good luck with them when I moved here. It was like FedEx usually delivered earlier. Everything was good. And then lately, they're like, oh, it'll be there by 8. And then it's not even there that day. Like it went downhill, over the last couple of years pretty bad. So, and I would blame, the current state of things, except UPS isn't having any problems. Like they seem still good. So I don't know. Let's see. Christian said, what is your opinion on expensive art, modern art, such as the banana taped to the wall? Let's see, it's a tax evasion, money laundering scheme in many cases. It's kind of interesting the way tax laws are set up around art and the deductions people get when they buy them. A lot of bigger places, in order to get more deductions, will buy art at the very end of the year to meet certain points. I don't have a lot of respect for it. It takes no skill, obviously. It's for attention and drama, but yeah, I'd look into money laundering it's not money laundering because it's legal. It's like legal money laundering. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. There's some interesting aspects that go into a lot of it. Sometimes people buy it because they genuinely want the art, but when you're talking about cases like that and the people who pay it, it's interesting. Someone said, I really want to know your opinion on NFT. I don't have much. I don't see the value. I don't care. I don't see how it's going to benefit me. Yeah, like, okay, I could sell this because it's a digital thing that would be a useful thing for the NFT. I don't know that it matters. Like, I feel like you're getting more into, we talk about, you know, the abstract art, the banana taped to a wall, it's not tax evasion because it's legal. It's not money laundering because it's legal. I feel like we're getting into that aspect though. Like these weird, there's some shady stuff that goes on. And I don't know that I would say an NFT for certain. I just don't know why someone would buy, we'll leave it at I don't get it yet. And maybe I'll change my mind on that. Maybe that will change in the future too. I don't know. But right now I'm kind of like, I don't know. And I could be totally wrong. And it may be the most valuable, amazing thing in the world because everything is getting more digital now. But I don't care if I own the NFT. Let's say one of my favorite authors, like I have a lot of respect for authors like that. They're my superheroes. Authors are amazing. So like they're my rock stars, I would say, like equivalent of respect level. I have a couple of books by authors I like that are signed. I don't need the NFT original version. Like it would hold no value to me. I don't know. I mean, I guess everything is as valuable as it is to who, you know, it's worth what you pay for, what you're willing to pay for it. But I just don't, for myself, I just don't get it. I'm not seeing, and like I said, I may change my mind. I do that sometimes, but as of right now, not really seeing it. Clark Feinart said, FedEx gets here early in the day too, but man, the way those packages look, I wish Blick used UPS. I wouldn't have had my set of polychromos shipped twice for damaged supplies. NFT is, what is it? It's like it's not a currency. It's like a what does it stand for? I don't even remember what it stands for. But it essentially, what does it stand for? Hold on. So one of you guys can write it before me. NFT. Fungible token. Non-fungible, fungible, doesn't have fungus. It's like, I own this. It's kind of like a digital currency or a coin of, this belongs to me. I own the original digital copy of it. And it's weird because with art, it's not like, okay, you own it and then you can make prints. It would be like you owned an original painting. You can own the painting, but you don't have the legal rights to make prints. You don't own the copyright. So it's a very interesting thing. Like I said, I don't see the point. It would be like, I could sell you the original NFT, be like, you own the original. Have fun with that file. You can't sell it. You can't make, well, you could sell it. You couldn't make prints. So I just don't really get, that's what the shorter version would be, a digital file. So I don't know what, I'm not sure, Melissa. I can't even say it. I'm calling it a fungus. I know that is not what it is, but yeah. So I'm not sure. I know people have made money doing it, but it's almost like they made money because they already had a name for themselves and people thought it was cool. And it wasn't like you and I are going to make necessarily any money off of it. So I really don't know how that's going to benefit us, or if it even could. It seems, I mean, again, when you get into a lot of the stuff people are spending insane amounts of money on, it is usually for legal. I don't want to get myself in trouble. It's legal, it's not money laundering or tax evasion because it's legal. But that, like, I don't know. That's just kind of my opinion on it. Now, again, I may just not have all the information on it. Let's see. Salmon said, I really don't get what's the difference between NFT and holding copyrights to an artwork. And when you own the NFT, you don't hold the copyright. I sell this to you. I still own the copyright from my understanding, just like I would if I sold you the canvas painting on my wall. I still own copyright. So yeah, I don't, unless that was worked into the sale, but overall, no. So I really don't get it either. It's like bragging rights without having the thing like in your hand. I don't know. I don't get it. Let's see. I also heard NFT is environmentally draining, as Vicky is saying as well here in the chats. Yeah, I'm not sure. She said the environmental impact of NFT is crazy. I looked into those and I saw so many artists trying to get into it, but after knowing, I'm not sure how it impacts that. I'm definitely not educated enough on this. I know that they were saying kind of the same thing with like Bitcoin and such, like the resources to run that, like there was some, so I'm guessing NFT is kind of the same. But I'm not knowledgeable enough to really say too much on that. So yeah, kind of, it's weird. I don't know. I'm not seeing the real benefit as an artist, so it's not something I see myself really like. It, what little I read, I was like, yeah, that's enough for me. So I just didn't look further into it. And it wasn't enough for me to be like, this is a scam. You shouldn't do it. I need to make a video on that. It was just more like, yeah, it just sounds like more of selling a banana on a wall for millions of dollars or whatever it was. A non-money laundering, non-tax evasion scheme. I mean, if those were things. They're not things, apparently. Whoa, is that true? Starving Artist Collective said NFT and Bitcoin use up huge amounts of electricity, whole countries worth each day. Dang. I didn't know. I've heard, like, I remember hearing a thing with, who was it? The guy that does Tesla. Why can't I think of his name right now? Whatever his name is. I remember, why do I want to say Eli? I don't know if that's what it is. Whatever his name is. He was like, oh no, I'm not going to do Bitcoin because of the environmental impact, but then he owns a ton of it. Like, I don't know. It was kind of like, well, that's a little bit of a double standard there, isn't it? Paul said, true. I mean, we're multifaceted, so to each their own. Yeah. Musk. Yeah. Elon Musk. That's what it is. Thank you. Okay. I need to be able to get a thinner line, push you up. It's one of the really cool things with digital art. Zoom way in. And I can soften that out as I need to, but much easier than trying to do that small. Now let's go ahead and drop that down. I do want to soften it some. Actually, maybe it'd be better to blur it. Let's see which looks better. Not too bright. Let's just erase some. A little bit bigger. By a little bit, I mean a lot. No, not that much bigger. There we go. We'll just soften it now. And I'm also going to erase some of the base layer here. Shrink that down a whole bunch. I want to clean up this edge now that I can actually see it, now that I'm zoomed in. This is the coolest thing with digital painting, is the ability to go and erase things on a certain layer without affecting the other layers. Pretty handy. No, I mean, you can erase to an extent with other mediums, but not like this. Middle top layer, there we go. Yeah, I've got some fuzziness here that we definitely need to clean up. Paul said there's cognitive, I can read, cognitive dissonance with Mr. Eline's remarks. Yeah, I'm not sure. It was kind of a weird thing. Gypsy Heart said, I'm late. There's fungus among us. What? Happy Wednesday. Welcome. Salmon said, so basically they created a digital economical world where the authority of ownership applies to that world only. Kind of reminds me of the digital games where you, your accessories to show. Yeah, kind of. I mean, yeah, I that's probably a good way to compare that. Okay. Let's shrink you back down. Now I like where he, actually I do want to work a little bit. I want to define that shadow in his mouth a bit more. So that would be the top one. Maybe not that. What is your unpopular art opinion? I don't know if I'd say unpopular, but maybe less common. I hate so much of these little memes that everyone sends around like it's motivational, and it's like, yeah, that's how you keep artists being terrible. Like, don't compare your work to other artists. That's awesome. if you want to remain a mediocre artist for your life. If you want to get good, you better be comparing your work with artists who you're like, wow, I wish I could do like that, or something a little bit different. How can I apply that technique to my work? Like this idea of don't compare your work to other artists. I'm not saying compare it and then beat yourself up over it, but you definitely should be comparing your work to other artists and getting ideas and how can that influence your work. And like this, that is definitely one of those ideas that drives me crazy, of don't compare your work to other artists. The idea that you're born with it, that it's I heard this my whole life. It's a God-given gift. We can say that God gave me, or if you don't believe in God, you could say Mother Nature, whoever you want to believe in, gave you the desire, the interest in art, but you have to do the work to be good at it. It's not like, bam, magic fairy dust, you can now paint. It's not how it works. That's not how it works with anything. I mean, somebody wants to be a doctor, you can say that they were naturally inclined or that they had a natural interest in medicine, but that doesn't mean they didn't have to go to school for many, many, many years to be able to practice. With art, we have this thing of you're either born with it or you're not, and it's not true. It is 100% not true. So there's that. The idea that you need to go to college to be an artist, no, not true at all. College, you're either going to be a good artist or you're not. College is not generally going to be the thing that makes or breaks you as an artist. Your determination, the choices you make, that's what's going to make the difference. The art schools, we think that art schools, you go and they teach you how to paint really, this is where you go to learn. Yeah, not so much. They are, I don't want to say near useless, but near useless in becoming a professional artist. Now, you can learn some stuff. There is some benefit. It depends on your teacher, though. I should back that up, because you could get the most amazing teacher. You could have been one of the lucky ones who had a teacher who actually did teach you things that were of value, but those are really few and far between. I know so many people who go to college and it's like they come back like they somehow siphoned their brain out while they were there. They lost the ability to paint. It's very, very odd. So there's that. This up a bit. That is probably not super popular, especially by those who still own and that's the thing. That's my biggest complaint about school. I don't even think it's like, oh, you wasted your time going to school. You wasted a lot of money going. Like if your goal was to make a living with art, starting out $100,000 in debt, 150, 200, whatever it was, depending on the school you went, starting out in debt is not how you want to start an art career. And most artists I know who went to school do not work in an art field. They work at Macy's, paying off that student debt. Whereas I got to do art, like I worked full time, but I, at animal hospitals and such, worked at a pet store for a while. But I cleaned houses for a while. I mean, I had to work. I wasn't instantly making money, but I also didn't have student loan debt to pay off. And I think that trying to start out a career in art in debt is going to make your life a lot harder, and much less likely for you to stick with it, because you just need to get a job that will pay your bills. It's a nice form of servitude, or being indentured, and whatever. So there's that. That definitely, I would say, it makes me unpopular with those who went to school. Why do I have this dot here? I don't even know if it's on this layer. Whoops, nope, don't do that. It might not be that layer then. Anyway, so that's probably not popular. What else is not popular? I probably have several unpopular opinions, but those will be some. Let's see. Oh, here's the other one that's definitely unpopular. Well, not unpopular. It depends on who the crazy person is coming up with this. It's usually someone who can't make money with art. They will run around telling you shouldn't make money for art. Art should be something you do for passion. I actually watched a guy on a live stream. They went off on him for it, but he was trying to tell the other people, yeah, artists shouldn't make money. They should be doing it for the passion of the art. Why? Why would I produce then? If I'm too busy having to work at an animal hospital, how am I going to have time to do the art? Like, that's stupid. I should just give it away for free. Like, if you're passionate about it, that drives me insane. I guess these are more rants than unpopular opinions, because most artists are going to agree with me, obviously, if they're any good at their craft. But this idea that we shouldn't be paid is definitely frustrating and stupid. Definitely from people who don't think things through. And the funny thing is, that person that I was watching say that, he has a tendency to be smart on some things, but dear God, he's an idiot on other things. I think that's why they keep him on that podcast. It's hilarious to watch. It's like, what is he going to come up with next? Because you're just like, really? But I've heard that quite a bit. Oh, here's another unpopular opinion. Being successful as an artist, as far as now, success will depend on your definition of success. Your definition could be monetary, like how much money I can make as an artist. It may be what your skill level is. But a lot of people will think that the only, like being successful and being able to make money is 100% to do with your skill level. It is not. That actually doesn't have as much to do with it. It has more to do with what name you build for yourself and your marketing skills. You can market just about anything. There's a guy, he's a great example of this. I used to follow him when I used Facebook. And it was hilarious. I think he used it as donations for different like animal stuff, but people could pay. He will do a portrait of the animal, and it was essentially a really bad stick figure, like bad stick. I didn't even know those could be bad. It is hilarious, and people are paying for it. He marketed it, and he makes money doing this, and he donates it. But it's like that is a really good example of, it's not your skill level, it's how you marketed yourself, and he's funny about it. So there's that. Michael said, I think you're quite done with this art piece, right? I wish. I still have a stingray. I have the other dolphin to finish. This one's pretty much done. And I've got another dolphin. And I've got to fix the lighting on some stuff. I may end up finishing this if I ever, like, I have free time off camera. Brittany said, if you were to gesso and paint on a specialty paper with a pattern on it to use as a background, how is that impacted by copyright? Like the texture, so painting the pattern wouldn't work. I like the texture, so painting the pattern wouldn't work. So painting the pattern wouldn't work. I'm not sure what you mean there. If you mean like using a stencil, my understanding, and I could be wrong on this, you would need to talk to a copyright lawyer. They have a copyright on it, but you're supposed to use it in the art or use it in crafts and such. I think that the copyright is that you can't sell the print itself, but it's transformative. You're using it as a background for a bat painting or whatever it is that you're painting. You can't make a copy of, because they have the trademark and the copyright on the packaging. You can't make that stencil and sell that stencil. So, but using it in your artwork, I think you can. This is not legal advice. You need to talk to a copyright lawyer, because I think that would be considered transformative. Plus, you're using it as its intended use. Like if I get a stencil that is for, I have a lot of airbrushing stencils. They're for use in your artwork. They're not going to copyright the use of it in your artwork. It's my understanding, again, I could be wrong, but my understanding is it's the recreation of the stencil itself that would be the issue. Because what you're doing, and this is where it starts getting foggy for me when it comes to copyright, I believe what you're doing is very transformative, so I think you would be okay. But just to double check, I would check with a copyright lawyer. And not just any lawyer, it needs to be an actual copyright lawyer. Gypsy Heart said, I think your big unpopular opinion that grinds people's gears is not having to go into debt for art school. You hit some nerves with that every time, poor Sabs. Yeah, and I get it. People are mad when they spent $100,000. They basically could have bought a house, or they could have, that money could pay to rent a location at a shop and have their own art gallery. But instead, their money is going to student loan debt. I mean, it wouldn't be a fancy shop, but the point is it could be done in the right town. It may not be in New York, but the choices we're making, I feel like college in so many ways, the way that we have college set up is such a scam to students. It's very deceiving to students. We're giving out loans for things that they are never going to be able to pay back with that degree. There are certain degrees that just do not make money. So why are we allowing someone to take out a student loan, telling them, oh, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's guaranteed. You can take this. Why isn't there a counselor going, okay, so let's talk about your money-making potential in this career. Here's an unpopular one. A lot of people think that they can, they'll go to school, they'll get a degree in art, and their backup plan, so they want to be a studio artist, but their backup plan, and I have heard this so many times, their backup plan, I need to make a dedicated painting or video on this, their backup plan is to teach at a college or at a high school. High school probably more likely, but you're probably going to be teaching PE, not art. There's only one art teacher in that entire school. Same thing with the college. How many colleges are in this country? How many arts teachers are in each college? Not many. Those art professors are tenured. They're staying. They're not giving up until they retire. So you're not talking about, like, let's say, oh, well, there's maybe, I'm throwing a random number out there. I have to do the research. Let's say there's 7,000 colleges or 3,000 colleges out there. We'll go with 3,000. make it easy for my math skills, which I'm still going to screw up right now because I didn't go to college. But let's say 3,000 colleges. If each one has one art professor, let's go with 2. So let's say there's 6,000 positions available. How many of those teachers die every year or retire and that position now becomes available? Not many. How many students now are graduating with an art degree? I tried to find that out recently, actually, and the best I could come up with is like tens and tens of thousands. You're not getting a job as an art professor. The chance of that happening, you're more likely to make it as a rock star than you are to get a job at an art professor at a good school. I'm not talking about Chaffey Community College. Anyone else from Southern California? But that's not a popular opinion because they think that, well, that's going to be my fallback. No, your fallback's going to be working at the Macy's counter trying to pay back that loan. You're not getting the chance, like I said, the chances of you getting that job as a college professor, can it happen? Yes. Does that mean you shouldn't work for it? No, but that's not your backup plan. That's your priority there. Your backup plan is Macy's. So that is not something people want to hear. We raise kids these days. You have to go to college. And I did. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I was told you have to go to college. What college are you going to go to? What are you going to go to college for? And I always remember telling people when I was in elementary school, and I didn't realize this at the time why it was weird. My mom would always say, because I would go home and ask, do I have to go to college? I didn't want to. I'm tired all the time. So my goal in life was to sleep late. Yes. Whatever. I have health issues. So I thought I'd feel better if I could sleep all I wanted. This was even in elementary school. So I said, I would go to the teachers and when they would ask me this, I remember a PE teacher asking me this and then me telling them, no, I don't. My mom said I don't have to go to college. The look on their face. We are raising kids that's the only option. Is it an option? Is it a good option? Probably. Is it the only option? No. We've got trade schools. We have other things that get you instantly or very quickly making money and not going into college debt. My nose will not stop making me insane. I wonder, do I have a fluffy hair or something just tickling it? I don't know. But these are not popular opinions at all. I wish that counselors, instead of just giving out student loan after student loan, sure, go to school for this. Those student loans can be beneficial for the right degree that is going to pay that loan back, and that person's not forever in debt. It is so hard right now for people to buy houses because they're so freaking far in debt with degrees that will make them no money. That aren't really doing much else than getting them a job at the Macy's makeup counter. I know a girl with an art degree who has that. She's an excellent artist. Didn't matter. She works at Macy's. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud of your job at Macy's. I'm saying, why would you go into debt to work at Macy's? You can get that job without the degree. So a lot of what we're doing to kids in setting them up, putting an 18-year-old in debt enough that they could have bought a house, is insane. Like it makes no sense that, well, it does because we're getting, on one side, it makes sense for those making the money on those debts, isn't it? But no, and a lot of people don't want to hear that because their whole life they were told you have to go to college, is the only answer. No, you just don't. Well, it depends on what you want to do. You want to be a doctor, obviously you have to go to college. You're not going to run around throwing Band-Aids on people and think you're going to make a living off of it. But most of the time, there we go. Let's see. Mildred said, I agree. I feel almost any lack of talent can be made up for with determination and desire to learn to grow. And I asked this in I shouldn't even talk about it because I want you guys to answer it in tomorrow's video. Maybe those of you guys could go answer the right answer when I ask this in tomorrow's video. What is the one thing that will make a difference in whether or not you're successful in anything in life, whether it be art, opening a business, whatever kind of business, and be sewing cute little bats. You want to make a little bat? I haven't shared him with you guys in a while. Anyway, she doing anything like that. What is the thing that's going to make you succeed? Is it your skill level? Is it your art supplies? Is it how much money you spent on college? What is it you think is going to make you succeed? The one thing that will make a difference is your determination and perseverance. I can never say that word. That is the thing that will make a difference on whether or not you succeed. Your art skill level, not a big deal. So now you guys get a cheat. You can answer that question tomorrow and get that right off the bat. But your art skill level isn't the thing. It's your marketing skills. It's putting yourself out there, how you present the information. Someone said, so NFT in a sense is kind of a cryptocurrency where you use real money to buy fake products. I mean, it's one way to word it. Others would argue, but it is one way you could word that. It's kind of a funny way. I like it. No, it's not fake. It's a digital. I don't know. It's weird. It is weird. it's not something you can touch, so fake makes sense. Gypsy Heart said, and the fact that art teachers in college everywhere still preach using sandpaper on blending stumps and sealing with hairspray. So you're blowing money on bad advice too. Yep. And you might be one of the lucky ones who gets a good art teacher. They exist. They absolutely do. They are so good. I don't even know how you would know going into a college. Like, what college do you choose knowing you're going to get one of the good teachers? I don't know. Brittany said, I'm a senior and an art student. I just realized I have never seen any of my professors demonstrate technique. I have seen their amazing, complete work, but not their process. So strange. Yeah, not helpful then, is it? Makes it. Most of art college was almost like theory on stuff and not like what I've heard. No, I didn't go, but what I've heard from other people. I did take one college art class in which I had the other students in that class. He would give us an assignment, like paint this theme. And the other students are coming and watching what I'm doing, asking me to show them how to do it because the teacher wasn't. And it was like, why would I pay for this? So I didn't. Paul said, my life has consisted with unpopular opinions anyway. Yeah, mine does too, honestly. Michael said, what drawing tablet are you using? This is the Wacom tablet. It's huge. It's like, is this 32 inch? I don't know. It's a big one. It's the older one. They have newer ones that are better. Like the DPI, the screen resolution isn't amazing on this, but it works. It's cool. It's got a pressure sensitive pen. It's pretty cool. I definitely would recommend Wacom. I've been very happy with them. I've used some other brands that work, but they can be laggy. So if that's something that's going to bug you, just be aware of it. Paul said, unpopular opinions. Not everyone can be a good podcaster, and that's fine. There's no need to be wasting time making one. All these new podcasts are abominable. You know, it's funny. There's someone in my neighborhood, not my neighborhood, well, kind of my neighborhood, like this city, who keeps advertising. Her and her husband made a podcast. I have no idea what the podcast is about other than that they sit and chat. You have no point. How can you find a target audience if you don't even know what your target is? And I've not listened to it. I'm not going to bother because like anybody else. And so she's apparently getting frustrated because it's funny to watch week after week. Come on, you can at least go listen to it. Come on. Like she's getting real pushy about like people just need to go listen. And it's like her marketing skills suck. Give me a reason. I don't even know what you're talking about. Do you have a topic or you and your husband are just having a conversation? Boring. No. Like that could work if you already built a name for yourself. Like if me and my husband had a podcast, actually, I could probably make that work if it's just us talking because I already built a reputation and a name for myself. You guys know who I am. So if I vouch for, my husband's hilarious if you can get him to talk. That's the challenge, is getting him to talk. He's my opposite there. But what comes out of that man's mouth is usually hilarious and unexpected. But that's because I've already built that name. These people have not. There's no one knows who they are. No one knows, why should I care what you say? What are you even talking about? You don't even tell us. So it's like, yeah, no, you're right there. Karina said, I went to an art awards recently. Some of the work that won was confusing. The judges had art degrees. Well, there you go. Made me wonder what good art is. Realism got nowhere. Scribble won. Yep, and that's why I don't do art shows. Now, there are exceptions to that. Like CPSA is a good example of their art shows. The winners of those awards deserve it, hands down. Like they are phenomenal. That is the only arts award thing that I really am like, oh, I absolutely see why you chose that person, or you know that won. But that seems to be the case. I'm going to go ahead and move this dolphin behind the other one. That seems to be the case so often with let's cue up with these art shows. They vote for. You know, I get abstract. I get where some abstract wins because you're like, that has just amazing balance and it's just pleasing to look at. Like the artist understands contrast and composition and all of that. You have to know that to do good abstract. But most of what I was seeing at these shows, that was not the case at all. It was the most ridiculous. Like, did you look at the art? It's funny when you say scribbles because that was the last art show I did. That was what was awarded were scribbles. And I'm like, it took no talent. The paper wasn't even protected. It looked like the artist just scribbled, ripped it out and tossed it on the thing. And you're like, why would that win anything? It was too much, I felt, of who knew who. That's the only, like, because it was where is that dolphin? Oh, that looks weird. Red dolphin base. There we go. I actually want you, I think, behind the copper banded butterfly too. Oops, nope, undo. Nope, undo. Pay attention to what you're doing, Lisa. No, I've seen that, and I've seen where things were awarded where I'm like, oh, I get that. That was awesome. I definitely get where certain things won. But then you see things and you're like, someone. You did something behind closed doors with someone, didn't you? Because there was no skill, there's no balance, there's no like, I get where I may not like the style of art, but you can still appreciate and say, okay, I can see what they saw in that. A lot of these art awards, it was like, did you just pull a random thing out of the hat, or was it because you were partaking in things behind closed doors, or someone knew someone and that's all the name that they were? Not always. Like CPSA is a great example. If you're a colored pencil artist and you like getting into competitions, it's obvious why people won there. I really do like their judges, but the judges are artists. They're realist artists, and I think that matters too. Who is the judge? So this was something when I used to show Italian Greyhounds. You needed to know certain judges, no matter what, you'd go through a phase where the judges only wanted a red Italian Greyhound or a seal Italian Greyhound, which makes no sense because the color is not a factor in, like, that's not a plus or a minus as long as it's not brindle. But the color is not a factor in whether or not an Italian Greyhound would be awarded. You're looking at the form, not the color. So some breeds, the color matters as far as being balanced and this and that. But as long as the dog's not disqualified, color shouldn't even be a factor. But you had to know certain judges, if you had a blue dog, don't show up that day, or don't even bother paying for the judging fees, because that judge will never choose a blue dog. So you needed to know the judge. And I think with art, it's kind of the same. You need to know the judge. Is the judge a realist? Go to him. He's going to be more likely to be fair. Now, does that mean he's always going to choose realism? No, he may see the value in something more abstract or more impressionistic, having, a good balance, a good whatever. But I find when the artist themselves is only abstract, that it's like they don't even have the concept or the ability, or maybe it's a jealousy thing, because I know a lot of artists. Here's an unpopular opinion. I know a lot of artists who, I did it again. Who get into art because they want to feel artsy. They like and there's nothing wrong with that. If that is fun to you, go for it. That's awesome. But a lot of artists get into it with that as their sole purpose. And there's almost like this underlying jealousy of artists who actually can paint and draw accurately. But they will say they just don't like realism. That is possible, but more often than not, when I really got to talking with artists, when you kind of pull it out of them, no, they just don't know how to draw. They didn't take the time to learn what we've put the time into. It's hard. So, and that's fine. That is fine. And a lot of people like abstract work. There's nothing wrong with that. But I find so many of the abstract artists, not all of them, but so many of them don't have a concept of balance, of color, of value, of design. They just don't have an eye for this. They're just slop and paint on the canvas. Not that can't, they may have slop paint on and it happens to land in a nice, appealing way. That's fine. That happens. But they can't be consistent with it. But anyway, if they kind of build a name for themselves, because like we were talking earlier, this is definitely an unpopular opinion, but like we were talking earlier, you can build a name. You don't have to have skill. You can build a name for yourself on the name you built, just working on your marketing. So if they built that name that way, not off the skill, those are not the artists I want to judge my work. And many of the judges, that's who it is, because they built a name for themselves. They were asked to judge. So I'm not going to pay an entry fee. Find out who that judge is, because if they are someone who only does abstract, they typically don't have a lot of respect for those of us who do realism or surrealism. Not always, but that was my experience, because I went through a phase. I put a good 5 years. I was entering every competition I could find locally. This was when I was in Southern California, and I was a newer artist. And my issue wasn't that I wasn't winning, because I was a newer artist, so that I expected. My issue was who was winning. And I'm like, I can't compete with that because I don't typically paint with my feet or my butt. How can I compete with that? I mean, it would be interesting, but how do you, there's no reason for me to enter these shows. So if that's all that's being awarded, I remember this one, it was supposed to be a rooster. I don't even know. I don't know. And it won like the mayor's award or whatever. And I'm just, yeah. So you need to know who the judges are, just like with the Italian Greyhounds. Why would I enter under a judge who will only award a red Italian Greyhound when I have a blue one? Is it right that they do that? And especially in Italian Greyhounds, because you have a set standard that you're looking for on what, how the dog should look. But it's more by form, by their bone structure. So is it right? No, but they do it. I'm not going to waste my money. And that really comes down to these art shows. Find out who the judges are. Do they work in a way that you think they might appreciate your work? Then go for it. But if all they do is abstract, and I'm not saying there aren't good abstract artists out there. I'm saying there's a lot of abstract artists who aren't good. So, I mean, when someone is not good, it's more obvious. If someone does realism and they're not good at it, it's much more obvious than someone who does abstract and is not good. You're like, oh, you made some interesting choices today, but all right. It's not as obvious, I think. So maybe that makes it harder to tell who's a good abstract or, somebody who is going to respect other forms of art versus, anyway, there's a rant. That is definitely going to get me some thumbs downs. Let's see. Someone said, this is all new to me, so I can use my stump without sharpening them through sanding. Wow, thanks again. Yep. Yeah, if you sharpen those, you're pretty much ruining them. Let's see, where are we? Brittany said, I'm an art student, but 100% of it and living expenses are covered by grants. Nice. I wouldn't be doing it otherwise, and I'm due a double major. My other major is my fallback. See, you are smart, and it sounds like you're in a good position. That is good. See, there are times, I'm not going to say art is, or that college is never good. There are certainly times, but the students who are just going into insane amounts of debt, and the one that gets me are the people who constantly change their majors. Yeah, but you still have to pay for the first one. Like, what are you... Why are we, maybe students should be taking a year off and really deciding, I think we should have students go work for a year or work for 6 months. And let's say you wanted to be a veterinarian. You need to go work at an animal hospital, because that's what I thought I wanted to be as a teenager till I worked at one. My mom worked there, so I was able to work there. I was 16 one summer I got to work there. When you see what actual being a veterinarian is, it's like, yeah, no, I think I'd rather train dogs. Like, this is not what I'm looking for. So I think if students were required to really look into the career for the major they're going under before they go into debt for that, it would really make a difference. Yeah, Jim Sarah said, you don't need him to talk, just throw cheese. Someone said, wanted to get an art and design degree, but mostly it's so subjective that I couldn't. Yep. Jim Sarah said, I personally noticed Scribble wins in person. Hyperrealism was online. Now that's interesting too. You are 100% correct. Online, those scribbles do not get attention. Bad art, or I don't even want to say bad art that's not, realism and hyperrealism, those are what's going to get, the more realistic, the better online. No, you are right. And I'm not sure why that is, but you are 100% right. I am going to do better selling my work online because it's realism than I would in a gallery in many cases. The gallery, and it's not that the gallery is like, oh, I just don't want your work. It's they know for whatever reason, their customers, really a lot of them like the more impressionistic, the looser look. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing too. Let's see. Karina said, I felt the same way. The same bad art from the same bad artist wins every year. One winner had a portrait on a wooden board and the board was buckled. I found that a bit rough. Yeah, I've seen some questionable, yep. The live stream stopped. Hold on. No, it's still going on my end. Refresh it. Well, if you can't see it, you can't refresh it. Let's see. I ran a little too much. Only 42 people here. That is bad for one of my live streams. Holy crap. Oh, it's buffering for people. Maybe that's why. Did people just leave? Okay. Someone said, I might have missed that. Hold on. Someone said, a really unpopular opinion, but doing abstract art isn't that hard. All they are doing is overthinking, oversimplifying strokes and canvas. It really is about understanding balance and having an eye for balance. It's not so much about the technical side of that. Whereas with realism, you get into the technical side, not just the creative, whereas abstract focuses, I think, a bit more on the creative side and not the technical. That would be kind of a way to word that. Paul said, I remember last year I was crying here due to losing an art competition. Thank you for lifting my spirits up. Yeah, those are... I think that art competitions can be discouraging. They can be fun, but you have to go into it, I think, with the right attitude, because otherwise, let's see, we've got some work to do on, I still didn't figure out where I want this dolphin to be. I need to reposition some of these guys. Okay, the front dolphin needs to be moved. Oop, not you. You are the leather. Matt's bird, Sushi, in there is making some weird, unhappy. No, Matt's off work. He should be in there with him. I don't know why Sushi's making weird sounds. So I'm going to move that around and figure out where would be best. Actually, let me shrink him down a little. Whoop. Uh-oh, hold on. So what's happening, I'm going to save this and close out Photoshop because it'll start having hiccups like that. When it starts doing that, just restart the program. I have confused it. Let's go ahead and pull this up. I'm going to close that. Okay. Oh no, it says 71 viewers. I don't know why it says 48 on one, 71 on the other. I don't know. Okay, open back up Photoshop. So if you ever have a hard time with, I guess that's computers in general, but with Photoshop, when it starts just being weird, just restart it, save your work, restart it, and usually it will fix everything. Like, it just works fine. There's just some weird hiccup there. And now I should be able to choose this dolphin. You, I think, are fine. You in the background need to be moved back. Let's see. Hi, is it Avro? Avro Tex 360 by William. That is a fancy long name. The interesting thing about your name is it makes me kind of interested, like, ooh, what is your channel about? Do I want his tail out of the water? No, because the other one's out of the water. Do I want you down more? Smaller maybe, because you're more in the back. So it looks like this guy's closer. We've got to reposition the size on these, and then we can start on that guy. Eo said, it's too bad that being creative is so competitive because it takes the fun out of it. Well, I mean, maybe. It depends on how you look at it. Like, I mean, just the competitions is one thing that I just don't think is necessary. They can be fun, and especially with the right one. But I also, like I said, don't really know that I'd say they're super necessary. So that might make a difference. I don't think they're for everybody. Not everybody has the, I think, makeup to be able to handle a competition and not be discouraged when they don't win. Even at, let's say, the CPSA ones that I was talking about, they have good judges. It makes sense. You know why the person won who won. Good luck. Yeah, the competition, there are some amazing artists out there. So the chances of winning is fairly low. And so if you're going into a competition with the expectation to win, that can be a bit crushing for some artists. So it's definitely not for everybody. Man, look how much better the second dolphin looks because of that peach. So we're going to come back and do some of those changes on this guy now. Let's see, on the base, the details, probably the base. Front details. Yeah, that one should work. Okay. This has been a fun conversation tonight. You guys have well, it's going to get me in trouble. It's probably why I don't have as many viewers as usual. I'm pissing off the people who are spending too much money at art school. And it's not that there's no value in that. It depends on your teacher. It depends on different factors. But the idea that everybody needs to go to college for whatever it is they want to do is certainly not, it's not doing anyone any favors. Well, it's doing the college pocketbooks plenty of favors. Of course, they know those loans are guaranteed. Why wouldn't they help you get a loan for any freaking thing in the world? Why would they tell you? This is something that students need to realize too when you're going into a college. Why would they tell you, hey, by the way, you know this degree you're going for in whatever random thing, it's not a STEM field, so you know this degree, you're never paying this loan back. Right? You know that, right? Why would they tell you that? You wouldn't take that. They couldn't pay their teacher. They couldn't pay their pocketbook. Like, of course they want you. They know that's a guaranteed. They're getting that money because it's guaranteed for them. It is a racket, a scam. I don't know. It's dirty. And it really, I think, hurts a lot of students. I think it hurts artists because they go into it thinking they need to do this thing and they don't. Okay. What am I on? I need a paintbrush. Oops, why are you not doing what oh yeah, you are. Let's see, we'll get some of that peach in there and pick a paintbrush. That should work. Drop that opacity way down. That might be a bit much still. Let's see. Paul said, another unpopular opinion I've noticed, jurors would pick up an entry that stands out from the rest of the submissions regardless of the art style. You know, sometimes with showing dogs could be that way too. They would pick out something because it was extreme, not because it was correct for the breed. I saw that a lot. So that's definitely That can happen too. But sometimes, and I don't even necessarily bash the judge in that. Sometimes they are just looking for something that was different and unique. And I can respect that and because I've judged things. I definitely want to see something that's a bit more unusual. I don't necessarily want to see the same thing everyone else did. It's like, okay, what's unique about that? So I can respect that. But that was something with dogs that was really frustrating. You would see judges go by that it was a more like the dog was more high stepping than the other dogs. It looks fancy. Yeah, but that's not correct. Like that's not correct for the breed. So you shouldn't be awarding it based on that. So that was it was frustrating when showing sometimes when the judge, you're like, you knew that judge just wasn't super familiar with that breed, that they didn't know the breed standard. But then the other thing with showing dogs is it had more to do with the handler. So if you didn't pay for a professional handler in some cases, there's no way, it didn't matter what your dog was like, you weren't going to win. So there were some weird things with dog shows too. Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're questionable. Yes, please follow. I just yelled. Sorry, guys. Anyone who has their headphones in, I got excited. Follow me on MeWe. I don't use Facebook really anymore unless I'm telling you what's on MeWe or on YouTube, because only 3% of you would see what I post on Facebook anyway, because that's how bad Facebook's algorithm is. Actually, you know how bad it is? I have an account where I can look at what's going on in my neighborhood. Now, on that account, I'm getting every other ad is either sponsored or just straight out ad. And I don't know why sponsored wouldn't just be listed as a straight out ad. Ad, post for my neighborhood. Sponsored, post for my neighborhood. Ad, post you saw 4 days ago, even though newer content is here, but we thought you might be interested in this drama. Like, this is what that platform is crap. But yes, MeWe, link is in the description. It's like Facebook when Facebook used to be good. Like, you see things in chronological order, which is all anyone wants from Facebook. Like, I don't even mind if there's ads. If you give me let me see the pages I follow. Let me see my own friends, like in chronological. Nope, Facebook says no, not unless you pay. So anyway, link to that is in the video description. You can see my frogs and my fish and all kinds of stuff. Karina said, I have seen some beautiful abstracts, but not many. I think that they would be hard to do. It's not my style, but I can appreciate the effort that goes into some of them. Absolutely. And for me, that's one of the things not showing on. Oh, crap. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't do anything too crazy. There we go. Oh, I bet he texted me. Yep. Thank you, Nick. When did I start that? That came in at 36. Okay, it hasn't been that long. I just realized I'm not getting my notifications. But where was I rambling? Oh, with abstract. No, you're right, because abstract depends so much on value, contrast, composition. It depends on so much of the very basics of art in order to be appealing. So to be good, that's when I have always found I will start to respect a style in art. I may not like it, and then I try it myself, and you're like, oh, this is not as easy as it looks. So I definitely have respect for some of the abstract artists out there. There's some amazing, amazing work. Here, unpopular opinion. It drives me crazy. And I list paintings like that sometimes too, because it's what makes sense, so I get it. But people will paint something and because it's more stylized or impressionistic, an abstract. It's an abstract tiger. The fact that you can tell it's a tiger means it's not abstract. That word does not mean what you think it means. So that one, there's one of my unpopular opinions that drives me crazy. Gypsy Heart said, GNA need you, oh God, I can't read. Gonna need you to have a glass for me tonight. Just spent 3 days working on the underpainting of an oil commission, building up texture, only to realize I wasn't thinking and wasted time. What? Why did you? And I will have wine tonight. I'm having red wine tonight. Why? What happened? Clark Finer said, don't forget to share Photoshop now that it's been reopened. We see your bokeh background. Still? Okay, got it. Thank you. Sorry about that, guys. Brittany said, I was told the purpose of going to art school was connections you make and that you're technically paying for the time and focus to practice your art. But did that work out? How many connections did you make? Because the artists I know who did it, the only connections they made is they found out about art competitions and they knew some people. I could go meet those people on my own. If I put in the effort, I can go meet those people. If I put in the effort, and I think it's almost a disservice when you think about it. Okay, so here's the thing. I know I'm not getting a lot of art done. I'm going to have to finish parts of this off camera just to be done. I'm so done with this piece. I have dragged this on for too long. But one of the things, where was I going with that thought? I had a thought that I thought was interesting, and then it just left because So one of the things that happens with school is that you have essentially assignments and a calendar and deadlines to meet to get those projects done. And one of the things with, I keep saying one of the things, with artists, we have a tendency to not be that, we can be detail oriented in the work, but not, we tend to be a bit too free-spirited. I'm going to paint when I'm in the mood. I don't like, we're not committed. We need to make a schedule. We're not good at that though. We tend to not be good at the whole set time apart, being diligent, being self-disciplined. That's the word I'm looking for. We are not self-disciplined enough to work for ourselves. And that's that's a huge thing. I probably should have included that. Well, it kind of covers tomorrow's video, but we are just too flighty. We're too like, and myself included, and this took me a while to learn. You can't just paint when you're in the mood. This is a job, go do it. And with college, you have a bit more of a structured form. So I can see a benefit there for sure. The making connections, even that I'm starting to doubt. You can make that on your own. You can meet more people on your own just fine if you put in the effort. So this would be a case where going to art shows, going to galleries, being involved in stuff like that, that could be the thing that gets you in. And those art shows, you can go, well, yeah, I don't want to pay the entry fee. You know what? That may be the thing though that gets you to meet those people, and that entry fee is a lot less than a college or college tuition. So there would be a definite benefit to some of these art shows. If you were outgoing enough to go talk to people, you certainly could. You have to put yourself out there. So there's definite benefit in the art shows there. But I think when a lot of artists, when they get out of college and they don't have that structure anymore, they're like, yeah, I guess I'll go work at Macy's where they give me a schedule. So it's almost like that habit that we get into in college doesn't always follow through when we have to work for ourselves. It can be hard. Not everyone is meant to be self-employed, and you can change that about yourself. Let's say you're bad about self-discipline and stuff. That is a personality type that can 100% be changed. It is not kind of like art. Oh, this would be a good video too. But kind of like art, it's not you're born with self-discipline or you're not. No, you work for it. You work towards it. That is something we consider a personality type, but it's one of the types that you can change about yourself if you put in the work. You make the decision and you put in the work. So that would make a good video. I'm going to have to talk or come up with something about that. But yeah, Chicken's losing his crap right now. Yeah, that would be, I don't think I finished that thought process, but I got distracted. So that would make, like I said, I'll put more thought into it on a video. Cat Starbuck said, I can't see your, okay, got that. Question, does YouTube's slogan, broadcast yourself, still hold up? Thoughts? YouTube just banned anyone saying remotely anything negative ever about any vaccine in the world. Anything that might be non-supportive. I don't care whether you agree with that or not. The second you start banning it is the second you create more conspiracy theories. So that's scary. Because YouTube is not, YouTube has some interesting hoops you have to jump through with things, and I still think it's one of the better platforms out there. You know, one of my favorites. But there's some questions. Let's see. I can't go too far into that because I'll get myself into trouble. Gypsy Heart said, thinking, oh, I'll save time and do the underpainting in acrylic and glaze. Then remembered 3 days in, oh yeah, I'm working in oil primed linen and not universal. Oh no, I don't even know how you fix that either. Oh, that sucks. Gypsy Heart said, hence why I was late. I had to pull myself up from the floor after flopping around like a 5-year-old for a good solid minute and slapping myself and yelling practice. It was, so as we move on, save the bracers, because I think if you're working on a Fredericks, because they're usually with the linen, those are good bracers, especially on the linen canvases. So, you know, you can re-stretch yourself, but oh God, it's not even, I wouldn't use that canvas for anything. I wouldn't even sand it down and reuse it, because there's no guarantee in the long run that the acrylic in between, yeah, that canvas is toast. Oh, that sucks. Sorry. Keep the stretchers. Don't toss it. Those stretchers are of value. They're more valuable than the canvas itself. You can go re-stretch that. But yeah, going back to the whole artist, you're almost paying to have that focus, paying for them to have that discipline. That's something that once that's gone, are you going to be able to keep up with it when you're out of school? Gypsy Heart. So if you see me in my neighborhood having a bonfire with 30 by 40 canvas, keep walking. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. That is really unfortunate. Okay. Now this guy doesn't have the highlights that the other one does too. Yeah, unfortunately, like most of the time I can give you fixes, like, oh, do this and you can save the stretcher bars as my fix. And you can buy online. I'm just thinking it must be Frederick's just because I don't usually see that canvas by anybody else. It could be anything, but you can buy a roll of stretched canvas and restretch over those stretcher bars. So that may be an option for you. And then you know what you could do though? Okay, I've got a use for you on this because you're not going to sell it. You can't sell it. But whatever slop, you do something kind of abstracty, you could use this as a backdrop for, let's say you have a painting or you're doing a promo of paint supplies or whatever. You could set it on that canvas drop, use it as a canvas drop cloth, use it as a photo back. So paint something over that because that's a big enough, it could be used for smaller things. So you would still have use for it. I would probably still keep the stretcher bars and stretch something else over it, but I would keep the canvas, remove it from the stretcher bars and use it as a sort of backdrop for other photos. So there we go. Not completely wasted. Someone said the only reasons why anyone would go for tertiary, I don't know that word, education or for international standardized curriculum, incredible qualification for a job and other related work. Yeah, and I get that, but you need to know what is it you're going for. Like, a lot of the degrees people are getting, most people are not working in the field they got their degree in. So unless you go into the STEM fields, which makes sense to go to college, then you're going to get your money back. That makes sense. But for a lot of the stuff we're going for, you could do trade school. You could take classes from somebody. You could take my Patreon lessons for $4 a month. That is not going to put you into debt. Well, the art supplies might, but Gypsy Art said, got to eat the cost of a 30 by 40. Yeah, I'm crying too. Serves me right. Trying to be fancy and not thinking. Yes, it's Frederick's. I already took it off the bars. Okay. Keep it though. I would repaint some kind of slop over it. If you've already been working in acrylics, keep going with acrylics. Or you could put oil on top, whatever you want. It doesn't matter if it chips off. Get a cool grungy feel that you can use as a backdrop. Then it's used for something. Yeah, funny thing is I knew it was oil prime, but then got started and went into autopilot. I can see how that would happen. It sucks, but I can definitely see. And I'm sorry for you. But turn it into something useful. I always try to think of like pros of things going wrong. Like, this is a sad thing, but I have already picked out, like, if I'm way too attached to my clownfish, I will do everything to try to keep those clownfish alive. They're doing good. Where is my female? But anyway, I have already picked out if something ever happens to my female, I'm getting an orange storm. I'll switch to a different type of clown. This is the mind games I play with myself to try to make if something ended up happening, because you guys know I had been dealing with flukes. If something bad happened, I have my backup plan to try to make it so, to make me not like permanently cry. So yeah, that would be what I would do. Let's see. Paul said, I love YouTube too. In fact, I'm a premium account. I've been thinking about doing that. Gypsy Art said, yeah, I said, have me a good extra practice. Yeah, but you can use that. It gave me a good extra. You can use it because it's a smooth canvas. If you get that kind of cool, grungy like feel with different, like, I would go with maybe bronzes, teals, because you know me, some grays. I could make a really cool backdrop and be something that would be useful for you that you will use longer than you would have used the painting. So, you know, there we go. Benefit. I still have, do you guys remember my old backdrop from when I first started, well, not when I first started YouTube, it was just a bookcase, not even an organized bookcase. But then I had like kind of grays and blues backdrop. I still use that occasionally as a drop cloth if I'm making a mess with something. I have had that thing for so long. Oops. You can actually, if you guys ever want to make a backdrop for yourself, I wouldn't typically go with a Frederick's canvas for that, but you could go with, I just made you cry again, didn't I? You could go to the hardware store, and for like $40, I think they're about $40, you can get a huge, huge canvas drop cloth. And some of them are already like primed and waterproof on one side, but you can get that and paint it with like acrylic. Just get cheap house paint. I wouldn't even use your good acrylics. I use my good acrylics because that's what I had available at the time, and I couldn't afford to go buy something else. I was so broke. But that can be something you can make a backdrop to use as a, whether it be like behind your paintings, you're going to take a photo of a painting and you want something blurry in the background with like dark colors, maybe dark grays and blacks and such, so it's kind of a soft, you can make your own backdrops. Of course, it's probably cheaper just to buy the ones pre-made on Amazon, but that is something you can do. Especially if you had like leftover paint from painting a room, just go get yourself a canvas drop cloth from the hardware store and don't paint a painting on it. It's not good enough for that, but you can make backdrops with that. I use a lot of water to kind of smudge everything together. Yeah, I used to have a reef tank back years ago, and I got into saltwater fishing in 1995. I remember because that's the year I graduated high school. That's when I got my tank, and I had it until about 2005, right around there, so about 10 years. And I had gone, it was for an art show. I went to Catalina Island. I was out of town for the weekend and we had a power outage. Well, when the power outage went out, it must have caused it was only for a few hours, but my filters being off, and I didn't know back then certain bigger fish should not have been in a 65-gallon tank, but that was before everyone was on forums and stuff. So I just didn't know. It's like, yeah, they fit, they seem fine. That had too many big fish in there, and so the oxygen levels were depleted when the water stopped moving, and they all would have suffocated. And as one fish died, then your ammonia raises, and it was just a nightmare. Everything in that tank died. So oh God, that was the most depressing thing, because I had some of those fish for so long. My tank, I had a tank, one specific tank I had for a really long time myself, in like 4 years or whatever, 4 or 5 years. I was so attached to that fish. He was like a dog. But my solution was, because I also had a lot of butterflies that I couldn't keep coral with. So like the way I made myself feel better about the crap situation that I was crying over was, I'm going to get fish that I couldn't or coral. I'm going to get fish that would be suitable for the coral I couldn't have before. So, you try to, as much as you can, look at like, turn it into something not as bad. I mean, it was still bad, but oops, I should have a bigger brush for that and shrink this. Whoop, not wrong way. Wrong button. I don't like how harsh that one is. I'm going to have to soften that highlight on his eye. It's a little unpleasant. On the other dolphin's eye. Okay, let's get some of these white highlights I was missing earlier from last week, not really feeling up to painting. See, it's super quick. I just wasn't paying attention last week. Like these little highlights will make a huge difference. Wrong layer. Which layer are you? Not that one. There we go. Look at me making it so it looks like I stayed inside the lines. Okay. Oh, I should get some more white highlights here too, though. Just about done with this one. If I get time, I don't know if I'll get time this week. I've got so much to start getting ready for on top of my normal workload for Aquashella stuff. So if I get time, I want to try and get a little bit further ahead on this, because I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick of working on this piece. So if I get time this week, we'll see. Let's pull some of this out like I did on the other one. Nope, not you. Drop the opacity way down. Make a bigger brush. Oh, that is the wrong button. There we go. Break that up just a bit. Oh, I like him so much better now. It's amazing what can happen when you come back with fresh eyes. I've still got some stuff that definitely I'll touch up, but that is a good spot to stop on him for tonight. Drop cloth. Yeah, it was a drop cloth is like, For painters, it would be in the painting section. It was a big canvas drop cloth that you would put down so you didn't spill paint on a carpet. So yeah, pretty handy. What are some habits other artists have that annoy you? Oh gosh. Selling work that is done with non-archival products. Telling people that it's okay to violate copyright. I see videos like that where, and it's not usually the well-known artists because they know, but you'll see like smaller channels start up and they try to tell people they can just, as long as you painted it yourself, it's fine. I don't know, stuff like that bugs me. Arguing semantics. I don't know why this is something I used to see back when art forums were really popular, like Wet Canvas before it got bought out by whoever bought them out and ran that into the ground. But that forum, the people they wanted to, I get that it was art related and they wanted to talk about it, but I just didn't understand spending so much time arguing semantics instead of, why don't you just go to the easel and paint? Like, go get work done. What are you doing? Why are you arguing over something that doesn't matter? Like, and they get nasty with you. They were just rude on those forums anyway. I was not impressed with the overall behavior of most of the members on there. Like, why would I share here if all I'm going to get is rudeness? But let's see. Other habits that annoy me. The copyright one is probably one of the biggest. I think, too, the attitude that you're never going to make it as an artist when that's not true, or people have a tendency, and this can be anything in life, but the artists that have a tendency to think that they're not successful because of something that's out of their control. And this is true for any industry, anything. But they'll think that I can't succeed because of this thing I was born with, or this aspect about me that I can't change, that I'm a woman or that I'm a man. I've heard both. Women do better on YouTube. Well, that's actually not true. It seems to be pretty equal across the board. But people like to think that they can't do well. I've heard people say they couldn't do well because they were too ugly. Okay, Casey Neistat has done amazing for himself. Who you are is what is going to make you more attractive anyway. I mean, if you're going to give them that. But that was a weird one to see. People will say that they can't succeed or they felt they couldn't succeed because of that. No, who you are is what matters, not let's blame, instead of looking inward and looking at something I can change. Is it my attitude? Is it my skill level? Is it how hard I work? Do I not produce enough content? Like, somebody will think that, well, I can't make it on YouTube. You produced one video in the last 2 months. Where did you think that was going to take you? That won't work. And there's so much information out there. When I started with YouTube, there weren't channels like Think Media or Video Creators or there's another one I've been watching that's really good. But there weren't channels that really taught you how to build up a thing. You had to figure it out on your own. Or that, well, no one else will help me. No one help me. Do it on your own. Why do you think anyone owes you anything? If you want to succeed, you need to do that yourself. Not, well, no one will collaborate with me. So I don't know why. Like, yeah, there's a lot of talk about collaborations are so great for growth. It's not been my experience. I've not seen collaborations make a huge difference for me one way or another. Now, to be fair, most of the times I do collaborations with smaller channels, but not always. They're cool. They're fun. I do them because they're fun, not because it's like, this is how I'm going to grow. But it always bugs me when somebody blames their success or lack thereof on something outside of their control instead of looking and let's say that thing is holding you back a little bit for whatever reason. Okay, work harder to counter it then. Work harder at being awesome at whatever it is your goal is and meet that. Be the best of what you're doing. Like, work at it. But so many people want to find an excuse for why they can't succeed, and then they don't have to succeed. Then the failure's not their fault. It's not from their lack of work. It's not for their lack of trying. It's not for their lack of good ideas. It's not for their lack of anything. It's something they can't control. And this drives me freaking insane. I see that with artists. Well, I'm just not a very good artist. Okay, but if you're saying art is so important to you and it's your passion, why aren't you working towards being a better artist? Well, I'm just not very good. It's not something, I wasn't born with it. You're also not practicing, so there's that. It's like me being upset that I can't be first chair violin in an orchestra when I never practice. I can say it's because they don't like my haircut. They didn't like the shoes I wore that day. They don't like my style. When I used to dye my hair stop sign red, that was why. They didn't like how I looked. Would have had nothing to do with it. Would have had to do with the fact that I don't practice. We want to blame somebody else for everything, and that drives me insane, whether it be with art or anything else. It is one of my biggest pet peeves, is people blaming something that is out of their control instead of working towards the things that are within their control. There may be something out of your control that's holding you back. So work harder at the things you can control. And that drives me insane, because so many artists could be so much more successful if they stop blaming the things outside of their control and working on the things that they do have control over. So there's my rant. And then I'm sure that's unpopular because no one wants to take responsibility for their own actions. They want to blame someone else. They want to blame something else. It's never my fault. Let's see. You've got some good questions here tonight. Some interesting stuff. Someone said, unpopular opinion for academia, smart people with no passion are easily accepted for uni compared to actual passionate students, which should be favored, talent or passion. Oh, well, here's the thing. That talent, by the time you get into university, you would have already had built, because you would have likely, like with art, you would have been passionate about art most likely since you were, preteen, most students. And if you were passionate, you would have been showing your talent by then. So here's my unpopular opinion. They go hand in hand. If you don't, you're not going to have talent without the passion in the first place. So I would argue both. Let's see. We'll wrap this up. Paul is such a good TED Talk, Lisa. Moody Rome said, your rants make my week. Oh, I'm glad you like them. Let's see. Okay, so we are at 10:02. I'm going to wrap this up. Wow, I feel so much better this week than last week. That stevia screws me. That has to have been what it was. That's the only thing I can think, because I thought I was getting sick. I was certain I was getting sick. I never got sick. So unless I fought off whatever it was, that's the only thing I can think of. And I knew I reacted bad to stevia. It makes me feel drained, like over the top. I'm going to die. I'm so tired, drained. And it lasts like a week for eating it once. That is, no more cheating on that for me. I thought a one-time thing, it'll be fine. It's not every, my gosh. Anyway, and the headaches are gone now too. I had such horrible headaches last week. Moving on. Thank you guys for joining. Make sure to follow me on MeWe. I will see you guys back here Friday at 1 p.m. And tomorrow I have a new video going up. It'll probably be between 1 and 3 p.m. It's a fun one. Watch till the end. My funny stuff is at the end, and it's talking about art motivation. So yes, I will see you guys, I guess, tomorrow and on MeWe. Thank you. Oh, check out our moderators channel. I keep not putting, Clark Fine Art has been helping out too. Gypsy Heart has not made a channel, but Clark Fine Art, she's got a channel here on YouTube. You can look her up. We've got Nick, Joseph. Joseph thinks he has a real life. I don't know what's up with that. But check out his channel too. The links are in the video description. They help so much with our forums, everything. They're amazing. We couldn't do this without them. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. I don't know where my buttons are. Where are my buttons? Bye.